Good morning, everyone. I have another devotion for you today, and it's regarding a gentleman in the Bible named Lazarus. Lazarus was a friend of Jesus. Lazarus and Lazarus' two sisters, Mary and Martha. Lazarus was sick, and they called for Jesus to come, saying, "Your friend Lazarus is sick." But he waited even 4 days before he showed. And when he got there, first Mary comes up to him and says, "If only you had been here, Lord. You didn't answer my prayer. You didn't come." And then a little later, Sister Martha came and she said the same thing. "If only, Lord, you had been here." It made me think of many times when we try to reach out to God and we ask him for something. We say, "If only," but it doesn't go our way. You see, God sees a bigger picture than what we see. He calls us just to trust him. He says that he works all things together for the good to those that love him, to those that are called according to his purpose. Things don't always go our way. So sometimes we curse God, don't we? Where were you? I'm not going to trust in you or believe in you. I asked you for something and it didn't come true. It didn't happen. Kind of like he's supposed to be our Santa Claus. But he has a much bigger plan and he sees a much bigger thing and he calls us to trust him. And sometimes our answer is no. It's kind of like we're a child that says to his parents, "Daddy, I want a piece of candy right before dinner." And we say, "No, you can't have that. It's going to spoil your appetite." But we don't like it. But he knows what's best. I think of the passage in Scripture in Jeremiah. He says, "I know the plans I have for you, plans of good and not of evil." So he calls us to trust him. So when he gets there, he says, "Take me to Lazarus's tomb." They bring him to Lazarus's tomb, and he tells them, "Roll away the stone." And usually when I read or preach through the Bible, I use the New King James Version, but I love the King James Version in this one phrase that it says. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much, but it does, because when they say, he says, "Roll away the stone," his friend Mary says, "But Lord, it's been 4 days. By now he stinketh." Well, the New King James says, "By now there's a stench." I just love that phrase. He stinketh. But he says, Jesus said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God?" So they rolled away the stone, and he cried out, "Lazarus, come forth." And Lazarus, who was dead, came forth and walked out of the grave. Now those are things that we don't see today, but those are things that happened and transpired back then. And there was a purpose. There was a reason. You see, there was a multitude of people there. Multitude of the Jews who didn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah, that Jesus was the Christ who came to take away the sins of the world. And in front of all of them, they saw Lazarus walk out of the tomb. And Scripture says at that time, many believed. You see, Mary and Martha, their vision was so small in comparison to what God had planned. All they thought about was, "My brother is dying, and if only you were there." But he had a greater vision, a bigger plan. And he reached out to a multitude of people. Not only did he bring Lazarus back to life, but many people believed on him through these miracles. And you know, as a side note, people say, Oh, well, those miracles don't happen today. Well, those may not happen today. We don't see hospitals being emptied out by people getting healed, or dead people being risen again. It's a different day and time and age that we live in, but we do see miracles all the time, all around us. You have to think about them, realize the goodness that has happened, and those things come through faith. We see God working in our lives. So like I said, sometimes we just don't understand what's happening. When we say, Lord, if only you were there. Or we say, Lord, you weren't there, so I don't want to talk to you. But he is there, and he has a great plan, a bigger plan, and he promises that he works it all together for good. And so I'd encourage you to trust him, even when we don't understand. It made me think of a passage of scripture when the three gentlemen were going to get tossed into a fiery furnace. And they were told, King Nebuchadnezzar said, bow down to me and I won't throw you into the furnace. And they said, no, my God will deliver us. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were their names. But if not, I still will not bow down to you, King Nebuchadnezzar, and worship your statue, because I trust it. And that's what we need to say. No, I may not understand, but I'll trust him. I'll seek him. And understand that his plans are good. Understands that he knows the plans that he has for us. Plans of good and not of evil. So he calls us, will you seek me out? Will you find me? Will you trust me? And so that's my prayer to you today. Ask him, are you real? Do you really care? Is there really such a thing, or is this all pie in the sky? He says, ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. For all who ask, receive. So I encourage you, ask him. Just ask him. And watch him work. He'll show himself that he is real. That he does love you. He does care. He says that he's come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Here on this earth and here for all times. Oh, that wonderful, great song, Amazing Grace, that says, and when we've been there for 10,000 years, bright and shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. So he offers us life more abundantly here, and he offers us life eternal. Trust him. No more if only gods. You can say, I don't understand. Your ways are not my ways, but Lord, I trust you. Won't you trust in him today? God bless you.